Are we going after the ones who are outside of the Measure B compliance? Only when another citizen calls us and complains. Our focus is on the big growers, and that's where we will continue to focus. I can't stand here and tell you what percentage of our manpower and staffing is used towards marijuana eradication, because honestly I haven't got those figures worked out. However, we've recently changed our documentation of time, and I guess there is a way we could spend time if I had the staffing. But I can ask our payroll person if she can break that down. But without a doubt, unequivocally, we are not going after as many small grows now as we have in the past, because it's not my direction.
Okay, so that, I mean, that's a good answer, and I appreciate it. But the question is here, it's not then, and this is what all I was seeking, was it's not having a major impact on your budget. The changes from last year till this year, or this year to 3 years ago, whatever.
It did impact us with the number of calls we got from the people who wanted to report marijuana growers. Okay. We did have an impact in that. But let me tell you something we talked about last year, which was very helpful to us. And if anybody in this room does not believe in voluntary compliance, I'm here to tell you that voluntary compliance works. The citizens out there who grow marijuana, the vast majority of them, honestly, want to comply with the law. And I can tell you it was incredible when once the ordinance of the 25 per parcel or the 1,000 foot from a bus stop came into effect, and our deputies started knocking on doors and talking to people, the vast majority of those people said, you know what, deputy, we'll take care of it right now. And those are the voluntary, those are the people we want in this county, because they understand the responsibility that comes with freedom. But the other people who come to this county that don't appreciate what we have in this county, that don't appreciate what Mendocino County really is, they're the ones we're going to focus on. And I hope they're listening to us right now. And I hope they get my name right, because when they file the paperwork, they're going to have to spell my name. We're going to go after those people, and that we're going to hopefully reclaim our county. And those people who want to grow legitimate medical marijuana, I wouldn't walk across the street to look at it right now, Supervisor, because they're the ones who are not breaking the law.
Thank you. Okay. Supervisor Smith.
Yeah, I have a suggestion. I think in the interest of time, I think to our chair that it would be good to wrap this up, hear from the public. I would like to go forward with the very concrete proposals that Ms. Angelo has brought us, if we're prepared to do so today. I'd like to take action on those because I think they're clear, I think they're concrete, and I think they're decisive, and we need to move forward. On the second level, this supervisor, as I already stated earlier, no one else has, but I certainly have, that I'm not prepared to give general authority to the executive office to start preparing layoffs. I don't think we're there yet. I mean, we probably are with respect to how we're going to have to close the budget gap, yes. But I think for process-wise, what I would like to see is that every budget unit that is over by, let's say, more than $10,000, that next week they would bring us very short, succinct, concrete proposals about what their plans are to bring their budget into compliance. And I think it's maybe 6 or so entities. It could be more, I'm not sure. But just going through the narrative here, it's about that number. And then I think at that point, we need to make a decision on how much of that overage are we going to assign to that department? How much are they going to be responsible for? How much are we going to take back and let the general overages of the other departments absorb and move on with it? And then based on that, we'll see what number of layoffs need to occur for the gap that we don't seem as decision makers able to assign to specific departments. Because I think we need to assign a lot of that responsibility to specific departments, but not 100%, not in every case, and we need to take it on a case-by-case basis, and I think that's the most responsible way that we deal with this budget gap right now. So that would be my recommendation. But I think we need to hear from the public.
Okay, any members of the public want to speak on this?
John Graff, I'm going to speak as a citizen. I was telling Supervisor McCowan yesterday that I really believe that all the supervisors are really going to earn their money this year and into next year. I think it's a tough time. I find most of the comments that the supervisors made today very encouraging. Don't necessarily agree with all of them, but it's pretty obvious that everybody's really focusing on what needs to be done. I did want to say a few things about trying to compare the sheriff's department to some other departments. As this economy gets worse, and there's a projection now that it's probably going to bottom somewhere after January '09, there's going to be issues that come up that we really do need law enforcement. I mean, as people lose their jobs, like I have, as businesses shrink, as they are, crime will go up. You know, the drugs and alcohol issues are going to grow. There's going to be more robberies and things of that nature. So I think when we talk about trying to compare the sheriff's department to other departments, we really need to be careful. I mean, there's some stats out there that show that your problem is larger than Mendocino County. Unfortunately, you have to manage Mendocino County, or fortunately, I guess it depends how we look at it. But there's a migration out of California. The migration is people my age, or some of our ages, that are like 50, late 50s, early 60s, because the economics aren't here and because we've lost most of our retirement during this process, and what little equity we have in our homes now, we're looking at a way to save ourselves and retire. So the population base is shrinking. There's pressures on all the business people through state laws, California laws, local laws, inclusionary housing, which is making the economy a lot worse. So we need to focus on all that, and I pray that you all can work together and stay engaged in the process, but please don't compare the sheriff's department. Oh, I wanted to say one thing to Supervisor Kovacs, if I could. One of the interesting numbers that you might want to look into is the percentages of prisoners in the sheriff's jail that are on ICE hold right now, because I think that's a significant number. It proves that the marijuana problem that he's dealing with is not the ma and pa problem. Yeah, it's people that bring in automatic weapons and that are not even legally in our country. So,
Anybody else from the public want to speak? Okay, we need to kind of bring this down to some sort of taking some action and giving some direction here. Alice, do you want to?
Yeah, if I could just kind of redirect this. There are certain things that do need to take place today, and I think one of them has been identified by Supervisor Smith, and that is the using the generic resolution and going ahead with the authorization for up to a certain number of layoffs, knowing that that is not the exact layoff authorization, because for that you need the actual list of classifications, and that's not happening today. What's happening today would simply be the number overall that you're looking for. So that's one. The other is that, you know, we would like to see all of the tentative agreements and side letters officially approved and reported out. Beyond that, I want to stress that when it talked about layoffs by county, and I guess that'd be non-HHSA county, the word is planned. I mean, this was to open up that discussion because now we finally have all of the information. We know what the results are of the meet and confer. We have the mid-year update, and when you put it all together, it's not a very pretty sight, but it's better than it would be without all those agreements. And what we need from the board is direction for where you would like us to go with this, what information you want us to present to you, and how you want to go about making those decisions. But that is clearly something that there is some time on, not a whole lot of time, but some. And so you need to focus primarily on the HHSA issue and the side letters of agreement. The other thing I would point out, and clearly we don't have time today, is that this was intended to be the start of the discussion on 2009-10, and that is actually a separate presentation intended to be followed by a discussion of the board around priorities. And I think the discussion you've just had is actually one that is very, if you will, preparatory for the discussions that will need to be held in terms of priorities for the next year. So it all fits together, and we need to move forward. But I did want to make sure you knew that that was part of it, and we'll have to, presumably, we'll have to reschedule that.
We're going to take this one at a time here. Supervisor Brown first.
Yes, better turn this on. Supervisor Smith, I don't think we can wait to move forward